All right, I'm ready to start my simple object still life. I have my toned canvas. So your canvas needs to be toned a mid-tone gray, so like a value 5 before you start, okay? One of my stretched canvases. And then I also have my simple object still life thumbnails right here so I can readily reference them. I've chosen my actually last thumbnail that I created for my composition, which actually brings me to a big point with thumbnails. Usually your first idea isn't your best idea. So you want to do at least like several iterations, and you can end up coming to your last idea might be your best, but if you hadn't gone through the process, you wouldn't have gotten there. Okay, so I have that out, and then I am looking directly at my still life. It's over there. But you are also going to need to have your photo reference out, and then your Vine charcoal for putting on the drawing. Now, my Vine charcoal looks like this. Yours might be a little bit thinner. Don't worry about it if it's not big and chunky like that. That's just my Vine charcoal. It's going to be the same thing. So the reason we're using Vine charcoal, I'll show you. So it's a very light drawing medium. So you can even just kind of erase it with your finger. If you have one of your paper towels, you can wipe it right off. So it's great for beginning stages of laying in the composition of your paintings because it's not going to kind of stain your canvas. You can map in your drawing really easily and quickly, and it's easy to move around. Okay, so I'm going to begin kind of like I did with my thumbnails. First, I'm kind of putting in a midpoint so I know kind of where the middle of my canvas is, okay? And then I'm going to map in my third lines, or basically my third line. So this one would be farther over. Okay, it's going to be like that. So again, third lines that connects to the rule of thirds or the golden ratio. There's tons of paintings all through time that their compositions kind of line up with the golden ratio idea. So we can align different objects with these third lines, and that can lead to really nice compositions of the eyes leading all around. So I like to map those in just kind of as a reminder to myself of the rule of thirds, and that I can place different objects on these third lines. Now I'm also pairing that with the actual observation of these objects and what's happening with the objects too. Okay, I'm going to go in for this zoomed in one. Now there's probably a little bit more space. I think my rectangle is slightly longer than I anticipated in my thumbnail, so I'm going to keep that in mind. Okay. So my sphere, I really intentionally kind of lined it up with this intersection of third lines. So I'm going to begin there because that's kind of one of my focuses for this composition. Okay, and again, in this painting, you're applying those drawing skills that we've gone over. So things like checking your angles, and I'm going to use my pencil to do that. So I'm going to continue to do that. I did that in the thumbnail. I'm going to even do it a little bit more in this process because I want to get pretty exact. So the cube is going to go about right there. And I'm checking the angle on that cube on those different planes. That's really a big thing for boxy objects. Often, especially with beginning drawing and painting students, they will get the angles really off on boxes. So that is something that you'll want to be checking. Okay. All right, and again, if this isn't right, I can even just kind of wipe it off with my finger or go in with the paper towel and get that off really easily. So don't be worried about the Vine charcoal. Okay, I think I'll bring this down even a little bit more. Okay, this angle and this back angle are going to be the same, so I can even take my pencil, kind of go like that to give myself a good reference. So it's important to know that with painters that have these, that are doing observational paintings where they've created these kind of illusions or make it look kind of realistic, that is grounded in these different drawing skills and techniques that we're going to be introducing in class. They're not just super talented and able to do that right away. It's through the study of art that you acquire those skills. Okay. All right, so now I'm also going to map in my cone, and I'm first going to run a kind of horizontal line and see where the tip of that cone lines up on the sphere, and it's about right here. Okay, and it's also from where I'm drawing it, part of it kind of overlaps the cube. So the cone is kind of just off of that third line. Okay. I can also check the angle on the cone. Just like I was checking on the sides of the cube, I can check the angle on the cone. It's about like that. Okay. Now you want to be careful in your compositions that you're not having the edge of an object go right to the edge of your canvas or your paper. So I intentionally, as I was putting this cone in, made sure that it wasn't going to go right into that corner. That becomes what's known as a tangent, where these things are lining up, and it can become an area where the eye really focuses. You don't want it to focus down in that corner. You want the eye again to be moving all around. Okay, so that I've mapped in my composition, and then once you like where your composition is at, you can, well, first you can do things like get rid of those little third lines. You can adjust your vine charcoal drawing on the canvas. But then once you're ready, you'll begin by first just lightly tracing over your vine charcoal with your paint, and then we can start to address the value here in our painting, beginning with the shadows. Here's what the beginning stages look like. Start off by tracing over your vine charcoal with your oil paint. Remember to add medium to your paint as you go if it's feeling dry. Begin with a medium dark gray. Don't go too dark when tracing your drawing or mapping in your shadow mass. You want this to be the foundation for your shadows, where you can start to layer in darker shadows on top. Also, heavy dark outlines will flatten out your objects and destroy the illusion we are trying to build. The goal in this beginning stage is to clearly see where the shadows are and where the light is going to go. You're setting up a general foundation for your shadows. Think of this basic value statement as a roadmap for your values. Having a solid roadmap will set you up for success as we begin to layer in more information. This approach to painting will also help you as we go into increasingly complex subjects.